Let's talk about the first book that I finished. In 2026, she's back in her reading era. If you are following me, you know that in 2024, I did my Heart in Books challenge. Just made it. I'm a long girl, so I think I'm 174, 175, around there. I made it by the skin of my teeth in 2024. In 2025, I released books and I didn't do much reading at all. I think I ended up only reading about 15 books the whole year. There's nothing wrong with that. If you are someone who only reads 5 books a year, that's fine. For me, I normally read a lot more, so it felt strange. I made a promise to myself. 2026, I was going to be back in my reading era. So I finished an old favorite. Dan Brown's Deception Point is, to my mind, the best Dan Brown book that was ever written. I know everybody goes mad for Robert Langdon. I know that the Da Vinci Code saga is his flagship series, but I just found that the Deception Point is like, there was action and there was intrigue and it was clever. A lot of his other books are set kind of in the Roman Catholic backdrop and beautiful exotic locations. This was like, it was just cool. And I'm not just saying that because it was set in the Arctic. So, without giving away spoilers, the premise is that NASA makes this massive discovery and it's basically going to keep the president in the White House, and it has to be validated by civilian scientists so that the world thinks that NASA isn't pulling a fast one. And so these civilian scientists end up in the Arctic in the freezing cold validating this find. And I just want to read the back to make sure that I'm not spoiling. All of that is on there. What follows is true Dan Brown style, action-packed, like race for survival but against the harshest conditions, and it's just really cool. There's government conspiracies, there's a little bit of romance, just enough to keep you interested, but obviously it's Dan Brown, so it's not romance heavy. It really is just my favorite Dan Brown book, and I've read them all. And I've read this one multiple times. This one and Digital Fortress are my favorites. But having just read Digital Fortress at the end of last year and reading Deception Point now, there's no doubt this is my favorite Dan Brown book. So if you read Dan Brown and you read the Da Vinci Code and maybe it wasn't for you and you didn't want to carry on with that whole saga because it is a big commitment, there are quite a few books. He just released the first in that series in 8 years, which is, I'm keen to read it to see like where we're at. But honestly, this is such a good place to start. It's a proper page turner, keeps you on the edge of your seat. At no point during this book was I bored, and I was so looking forward to reading. So my Heart in Books, I've probably read, my foot.